comment about how you was one of the few rappers that never sold their soul. What made you say that?
Because I know majority of these rappers. Yeah. I know what be going on behind the scenes. I know who not really in control.
Yeah, it's like, man, who is the new street rapper that we could sign that's gonna impact the masses in their city, and we gonna blow them up, and they young, so they don't realize that they being used right now, you heard me? They don't realize it. We gonna make them rich, and we gonna get one from every major city, because that way we can make sure that they give birth to a whole bunch of mini-me's that's looking up to them.
You know, a lot of times people be blinded by what they see in these videos and on TV, but I just know, I know what I know, man.
You've heard the whispers in barbershops, seen careers pop off overnight, watched artists switch up real quick. But what if someone who actually lived through this messy game finally said enough and spoke out? Lil Flip, the Houston legend who made millions independently before major labels ever got involved, just dropped something that could shake the entire rap industry. He claims most of these rappers sold their souls, and what they tried to get him to do is honestly wild. They literally sent people to his house for spiritual cleansing, and that's just the start. Now, other artists are stepping forward, talking about industry gatekeepers and the real cost of going mainstream, and what's being revealed is darker than anything you've heard before. Something shady is running deep in the music business, and most fans have no clue. While everyone's been distracted by flashy videos and celeb drama, this Houston legend just exposed one of the most shocking truths about modern rap that nobody wanted out.
Behind the scenes, I know who not really in control. You know what I mean? I know the real. You know, a lot of times people be blinded by what they see in these videos and on TV, but I just know, I know what I know, man. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people that ain't being righteous, and they ain't keeping it infinity, because keeping it 100 ain't enough. That's a limit. You go, with me, you gotta keep it infinity. So it's just a lot of people, man, that's just, you know, selling their soul and selling themselves short and distracted with the wrong things. So, you know, it is what it is, man. This industry is a very evil industry, you know what I mean? Like, it's very evil, man. So you gotta really surround yourself with people that think like you or bigger than you. So it's a nice amount of, I ain't gonna even say nice, it's a lot of rappers that sold their soul, and, you know, they let money dictate everything they do. They value money more than they value humans. I ain't participating in no bullshit. If it ain't righteous, I don't want to be a part of it, man. I'm not gonna snake my people, and yeah, I ain't gonna snake my people, and yeah, I can't sell my people out, and I ain't gonna sell myself out. Fame ain't that important, man, for me to just do anything. It's cool. I'm used to.
Lil Flip, the man who moved over 25 million albums without a major label backing him, just revealed something that might give you chills. According to this Houston icon, most of the rappers you see on TV made a deal you wouldn't believe, and it goes way deeper than publishing or creative control. They traded something way more valuable than any contract, something you can't ever get back once it's gone. And the price? It meant turning their backs on everything they once stood for, everything they built, everything they claimed to represent. But here's the part that really hits. Flip actually knows these artists. He saw the change happen up close, watched talented people turn into empty versions of themselves. The industry isn't just shady or exploitative. It's something worse, and the artists caught in it aren't just victims anymore. They became willing players in something way darker than most people want to admit. These aren't just struggling artists making hard business choices. These are people picking money over morals, fame over family, and success over their own soul. While Flip stood firm and refused anything questionable, plenty of others said yes to offers that would make anyone uncomfortable. But who's actually behind these offers, and how do they choose who to approach? The ones running this system aren't random. They move with precision, studying targets like scientists, watching experiments.
Once then you're an asset to them, right? So once you understand your value position, right? Like, you could be an independent guy, putting work in, and get to a point where you're good enough for them to purchase your soul, right? And when you see, there's no artist, let me be clear, there's no artist in this industry that's doing major numbers with these platforms that haven't sold their soul. And when you know what you're looking at and you know how to decipher, you will see it. And the people like the brother right here who has his merch and is doing it out the trunk and direct to consumer, you will never get to that $20 million club without going through certain doors.
So now I gotta ask this question.
So E40 didn't do it.
Hold on. Now I gotta ask this question. Do you guys believe that the rappers that are at the top sold their soul?
Yes.
Nope.
They only make moves on artists after spotting real talent and the struggles around them. These predators watch struggling musicians for months, sometimes even longer, tracking every weakness, every money problem, every personal issue they can find. They study you before they even step to you. They already know your financial stress, your family situation, your deepest insecurities before you ever get that opportunity. By the time they approach, they know exactly which buttons to press to break you down. And that's what makes it so calculated. It's not random, it's not luck, and it's definitely not just about talent. They pick who they want, study them like a target, and then come with an offer built around their vulnerabilities.
Yes, industry plans exist, yes. The music industry will conspire to say, what this artist represents is something that we need more of in America. So if it's extreme ignorance, if it's watered down blackness, if it's whiteness that represents being able to be cool and be accepted by black people, whatever it is, we want more of that. So we will do everything in our power to make this person pop off and be a star, to push this agenda. Or we have a vested interest financially in seeing this artist make it. Because not only do we have this artist signed to us, but we manage this artist, and we know that this artist is gonna create a whole generation of people just like them. Yeah, they definitely got industry plans. Yes, all of these black artists who ain't even old enough to understand the contract that they about to sign, and who are being signed just because they had one thing that went viral, that they glorifying a bunch of murder and a bunch of just negativity, and all of a sudden they about to get paid millions of dollars. Those are industry plants. The industry knows the impact that those artists will have on the rest of their community. They know it. And they're just like, oh man, we need that person to make it for sure. But if you are representing something positive or something righteous or something intellectual or godly, you absolutely have to do way more work to make the industry say, all right, we're gonna let them in. It's like, all right, we're gonna let a J. Cole in. We're gonna let a Kendrick Lamar in. But we got enough. We got enough of them. You know what I'm saying? We got enough of them. You realize that J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar are two of the richest rappers walking planet Earth today? Two of the most successful rappers? Why would the industry not want more J. Cole's and more Kendrick Lamar's?
Yeah, they don't even floss or anything, bro. You don't see them with jewelry, none of that.
Bro, J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar scare the industry, because if they let more of them in, you're gonna have a whole generation of people coming up who are black, who are saying, I ain't even gotta flaunt no jewelry, you heard me? I ain't even gotta flaunt fancy cars, and I can be intellectual, I can be woke, I can be a man of God.
Or rap about it.
Or rap about that stuff. And if you got a whole generation of black people that's coming up, that's like, man, there wasn't one J. Cole and one Kendrick Lamar. There were a ton of them, and they were all huge. Now keep in mind, a ton of people exist who are doing the same type of work that Cole and Kendrick are doing. And they're doing that work in their own way. I'm one of the people, you know? And there's a bunch of people that are doing that. But for the mainstream music industry, man, they don't want a bunch of that to exist, bro. Like, it doesn't make sense why you wouldn't want.
The recruitment system specifically targets desperate artists with shaky foundations. And the reason is simple, but cold. Desperation makes people more likely to agree to things they normally wouldn't. And these predators know exactly how to use that. Think about it. They're not going after successful independents who already have money, influence, and options. They focus on the hungry ones. The ones with nothing to lose and everything to prove, because those are the easiest to manipulate.
Being approached to do anything out of pocket.
I've been approached to have somebody come to my house and pray. And yeah, like, hey man, this guy, yeah, he's like he gets spirits out, and you know, he wants to come and pray. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I want to continue to pray the way I've been praying. I don't know who he believe in and what he believe in, but he can't come in my house. So, yeah, peace. I kept God in what I got going on. I kept God. I keep God in what I got going on. I don't love money. I talk for myself. I come from a family that programmed me and trained me to be out in this world and out in the streets and knowing how to maneuver. So you can't lure me with no money or nothing like that. Like, meaning like, if I don't want to do the deal, I ain't gonna do the deal. The difference between me and a lot of artists is I started doing music for God. My grandmother played the piano. I was in the church. I sung in the choir. I played the drums, played the piano, sung in the choir for God, went to different churches and sung here and there, right? For God, doing music in the studios, making gospel music, making hip hop. But I started off doing music for God. So I'm not gonna let money dictate every move I make when it comes to music. It's a blessing for me to be able to create. The money is gonna come. So I just pride myself in treating people right, and relationships outlast money. So you treat people right and you move the correct way, you'll have longevity. So for any artist or anybody that's a hater or just a fan or whatever you are, if you feel like some of your favorite artists fell off, sometimes you gotta just go take a trip down there and link up with them and see how they living. Cause I can speak for the artists that's in Texas. We still getting money, we still working, we still touring.
Lil Flip shared something seriously unsettling. Industry figures actually tried to get inside his personal space. They wanted to send someone to his house under the idea of spiritual cleansing. But this wasn't real guidance or religion. This was something much darker. They were trying to carry out what Flip described as demonic rituals right inside his home. Just think about that. Approaching a successful independent artist and telling him he needs spiritual help from their people. But it doesn't stop there. What other artists have faced gets even worse. The demands get heavier depending on what level of the industry you're trying to reach. Because everywhere in this game, there are gatekeepers, and those gatekeepers aren't just asking for simple favors or collaborations.
If you're trying to get signed to a major label, there's gatekeepers. If you're trying to get on certain media platforms to get interviewed, there's gatekeepers. If you're trying to get on the mainstream radio, you heard me, urban radio, there's gatekeepers. Yes, yes, yes. On the totem pole of people with integrity and people with morals, values, and principles, these gatekeepers ain't nobody. But in this perverted, sick, twisted industry, these gatekeepers do hold access to certain levels, you know? Bro, I've had gatekeepers in the music industry who have literally tried to hold a record deal behind their back and let me know, like, look, if you're a part of this homosexual act that I'm trying to take part in, you heard me? Yeah, come on, this door open real quick for you. Like, I got a song where I've talked about that before called The Devil's Playground. Like, this is real, dog. And the only way that type of stuff can work on you is if you let them have all the leverage to where you want what's behind that gate that bad. So that's a real thing. You also got people who, this is a different type of gatekeeper. The gatekeepers who will say, hey, you making too much righteous noise right now. If you just tone that righteousness down a little bit, then we'll allow you into these doors. But you gotta tone that down. You gotta become a little more vanilla, you heard me? A little more lukewarm, a little more bland, and you'll fit in with us more. So that's the slick gatekeeping. It ain't telling you, it ain't telling you to all the way, you know, bend over or open your mouth or something like that. It ain't that, but it's telling you, like, dim your light. And what ends up happening is you got so many people that's like, well, that's not that bad. They not asking me to do nothing super crazy. I just gotta dim my light. That's the scariest kind right there. Cause a lot of people will be like, wait, I just gotta turn it from level 10 to level 5? Man, bet, I could do that, bro. I bet. Now I get accepted, cool. Next thing you know, you got a whole industry, brother, that's lukewarm. Whole industry lukewarm. So then when somebody that's on fire come along, they looking at